I'm a follower of the Honorable Von Helton. This is Monty Corbell, and today I am responding to topics discussed in Von Helton's Morning Coffee 377 to 392. Von Helton teaches us that CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research and Particle Physics, is manipulating our reality by using a D-Wave computer hooked up to a Large Hadron Collider combined with a fusion reactor, which grants them the power to pull us from one reality to another of the multi-billions of parallel universes. This is a point Von Helton explains in Morning Coffee 346, 348, 383, 391, and potentially more. Von Helton says it might not be a big deal if you go to bed wearing blue socks and wake up in the morning wearing green socks because CERN switched you into an alternate reality parallel universe. But he says it is a big deal if you wake up one morning and your wife isn't lying beside you. And then you go into the bedroom and your kids are gone too. Another example he gives is maybe you left your keys somewhere, but then you find them somewhere else. While this is a specific cause, it points to the grander scope of a massive issue, which is the modern degradation of truth. Von Helton teaches us in Morning Coffee 383 that Judaism, Islam, and Christianity are not real, but rather an invention of ancient Rome based on stories from Babylon, Acadia, Phoenicia, and others. Probably Sumer, Assyria, Akkad, Persia, and Mesopotamia. Essentially, ancient Rome repackaged earlier material to fabricate the major monolithic faiths. That's something they don't teach you in today's history lessons. There is alarming degrees of deception and fabrication occurring in today's world. In Morning Coffee 382, Von Helton teaches us that the presidency of Joe Biden was carried through by a body double. The ears, nose, eyes, and hair were different from the Joe Bidens we saw during his term as vice president. And since Joe Biden's executive orders were signed by an auto-signature, Von Helton questions whether the signature was that of the real Joe Biden, or was it the body double signature? The Honorable Von Helton admits that he can't answer such a question since he's not a linguistics expert. But the deception doesn't stop there. Bill Gates has teamed up with Harvard to block out the sun. This is what Von Helton teaches us in Morning Coffee 385. To support this claim, Von Helton presents an article from USA Today with the headline that reads, "Fact check, Bill Gates is not trying to block the sun's rays in the name of climate change." To which Von Helton refutes, quote, "Actually, yeah, he is." The Honorable Von Helton retorts with a question asking, quote, "Hey, have you talked to anyone from the previous ice age?" He then answers the question with, "No." This is because humanity didn't survive the ice age, and Von Helton reminds us that this was an extinction event. So of course there is nobody left to ask about the ice age today. This is proof that nobody alive can confirm that it occurred because the ice age was an extinction event and human habitation ceased to exist. This practice of grand and elaborate deception allows for matters of control to develop and continue on a grand scale. According to Von Helton, in Morning Coffee 388, the United States could wipe its debt in, quote, 2 seconds, unquote, by simply repealing the Act of 1871 and the Act of 1913. And the Honorable Von Helton teaches us that Obama himself, out of his own mouth, admitted that Sandy Hook was enacted to repeal the Second Amendment. Obama said this out of his own mouth, Von Helton teaches us. In Morning Coffee 383, the Honorable Von Helton recommends that men who attempt to breastfeed babies should be put into mental institutions. Von Helton then says, and these are his exact words, I'm quoting here, "What we don't put people in mental institutions for is exercising their freedom of religion by coming up with a new religion called freedom religion, where they believe they've tapped into the true gods of creation. That's what you don't put people in an institution for, but you certainly put them in an institution if they're trying to breastfeed with no mammary glands." Von Helton teaches us in Morning Coffee 392 that the whole point of being a female is to produce children. Von Helton tells women, that's literally why you were created. It's important for us to recognize, albeit somewhat reductive and essentialist, that women essentially exist solely for biological function. The disruptive variables for this function would be life, identity, and purpose. Essentially, anything woke. In Morning Coffee 392, the Honorable Von Helton makes a request to President Donald Trump directly by asking for Martha Stewart to be pardoned for insider trading and to have her entire criminal record expunged to restore her integrity and dignity. Why? Von Helton suggests nobody told Martha Stewart what was legal and what was illegal. And she was taken down by hateful and envious women. Von Helton then tangents to suggest Nancy Pelosi should be arrested for the Logan Act, the Hatch Act, insider trading, and potentially much, much more. And Bill Gates, for that matter. Yes, we're back on Bill Gates here. Bill Gates should be arrested, since Von Helton teaches us that Bill Gates killed millions and millions and millions of Africans and people in India. That's not the only example of elaborate criminal intent. Von Helton teaches us in Morning Coffee 381 that Carmelo Anthony's murder of Austin Metcalf was a grand conspiracy, premeditated and meticulously planned by everyone around him. Since Carmelo Anthony showed up to that track meet with a knife, he had full intent before arrival of stabbing the boy. And since nobody stopped Carmelo Anthony from entering the track team tent, the coach of the track team was in on it. The event security was in on it. The school staff was in on it. And the judge, who lowered Carmelo Anthony's bond from $1 million to $250,000, was in on it. The Honorable Von Helton delivers a message to Austin Metcalf's father. Quote, "They wanted your son dead really bad, sir." Now, in Morning Coffee 382, the Honorable Von Helton teaches us that priests, whether monotheistic or pagan, wear gold, especially historically, because gold wards off radiation. If our planet were to descend into a third world war, priests would be protected from radiation poisoning. One thing that Von Helton mentioned was that priests would always put on gold necklaces and bracelets before speaking to God, and they lived. Could Von Helton here be suggesting that God emits radiation? He didn't exactly say that, but to me, it seems to be where he was leaning. And to survive an encounter with God, might require some protection. In Morning Coffee 391, Von Helton teaches us that the reason Jewish people throw their babies into the fires of Moloch is because Moloch is the Christian God, according to the Christian Bible. And in Von Helton's teachings of Morning Coffee 377, we're presented with his new theory. Experiments show plants respond to music positively to one set of music and negatively to another set of music. Could this explain why black men operate in mobs to conduct shoplifting operations? Von Helton explains, rap music is common amongst this community. And it's important to consider, he explains, that African music contains certain beats and rhythms not common on other continents. Therefore, the potential mechanism embedded in rap music has been intentionally implemented to deliver these results. He further expresses his new theory with a nostalgic reflection on the past. I'll proceed to quote Von Helton on this topic now. Quote, in a previous video, I posted a picture of black folk and how they looked years ago. They wore a suit and tie. The women wore pretty dresses. Women had pearls on, believe it or not. I mean, they were beautiful. The men were handsome. The women were beautiful. Everything was prim and proper. And my, how they've fallen. I would like to propose the question as a response in Von Helton's reflection by asking, haven't we all suffered a degree of cultural decline? One may ask why rap music only affects this specific group, to which Von Helton explains the differences in brain wiring upon racially determined neurodevelopment. He says, quote, the white folk brain is different. We have a department now that is capable of investigating these matters. Von Helton tells us it is called DOGE, the government agency responsible for cutting government funding from any waste, fraud, and abuse. And the Honorable Von Helton proposes that all CEOs of the rap music industry should be arrested and interrogated by DOGE. This concludes today's response to Von Helton's Morning Coffee.